try to eliminate limiting beliefs. Yes, I thought it'd be fun in this video to talk about my step-by-step process for eliminating beliefs, not only in my own mind and my own life, but for my clients, my family, and friends. Hey, Courtney Sanders here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new to me, I'm a full-time online certified life and business coach, as well as wife and mom. I wear all the hats and do all the things. And one of the things that I do, not just for my clients, but for myself and really my family and friends and anyone who is around me, is try to eliminate limiting beliefs. Yes, limiting beliefs, I think, are the #1 reason why people don't ultimately achieve whatever it is that they want to achieve. I know people will tell you, oh, I couldn't do this because I didn't have enough time, or I couldn't do this because I didn't have enough money. But ultimately, limiting beliefs are the core reason why, because when you release those limiting beliefs, you see options, you see opportunities to go after whatever it is that you want, regardless of your circumstances. So I am that person at the cocktail party. If you start to talk to me about, your dreams and goals and what you want to achieve, we're having a coaching session right then and there. So with that, I thought it'd be fun in this video to talk about my step-by-step process for eliminating beliefs, not only in my own mind and my own life, but for my clients and, again, my family and friends. All right, the first step to eliminating limiting beliefs is you need to evaluate and then elevate your standards. Yes, this is so important. I talk about this a lot. I feel like this is a course coming on. Let me know in the comments if this is something that you'd be interested in me doing a deeper dive in. But I find that people believe that their circumstances dictate their standards, and nothing could be further from the truth. You have to walk through life with a standard of what it is that you want, regardless of what is happening around you. And so you might have a friend who has limiting beliefs around relationships. Maybe she keeps dating like terrible people and you're like, oh my goodness, these guys are horrible. Like, why do you keep getting into those relationships? It could be because she hasn't evaluated and then elevated her standards, right? Oftentimes we don't go through life even evaluating the standards that we accept. But I find that if we take a step back and we say, you know what, this situation that is, causing me grief, that is giving me stress, this thing ultimately that I want to achieve in my life, what is it that I have been accepting, right? Like, let me just peel back the curtain and say, in real terms, what is it that I have been accepting? Oftentimes we don't even realize what we've been accepting and how it should be lower than our standards, but we've allowed our standards to get so low because we've just made ourselves, at the mercy and at the whims of other people's agendas. So when things aren't going the way that you want and you suspect that it's actually not a resource problem or anything else, that it's actually a limiting belief problem, really check your standards and say, have I drawn a firm line in the sand, right? Do I have a boundary in terms of what it is that I will accept, whether it's, again, in relationships and how I deal with people, not even just in romantic relationships, but even in personal relationships, with relationships with a family, relationships with your friends, relationships with your coworkers. Are you accepting things that are actually below what should be your standard? So you want to evaluate that, and then you want to elevate it. And the hardest thing about elevating your standards, honestly, is that it is a choice. But a lot of people are afraid to make that choice because, again, they think that their circumstances dictate what their standards are. So for instance, maybe you have a horrible boss who berates you at work and you're like, you know what, my standards should be that I don't allow anybody, not even my mama, like nobody can talk to me in this way. But you're reluctant to elevate that standard because you have a limiting belief around, oh, my circumstances, i.e. I need this job, or I'm trying to save up for this thing, or pay down this debt, or do whatever. You think that your circumstances dictate that you have to continue accepting these standards when nothing could be further from the truth. Oftentimes, when you choose what your standards are and you draw a firm line in the sand and you say, this is what I will accept and no less, oftentimes you will then attract opportunities that meet that standard. Part of the reason is you can't see them if you will accept below them, right? So if you will accept standards that are below what you actually want, you'll never see opportunities to get what you actually want because you're immediately gonna have your attention diverted to something that is below your standards, and you're gonna go after that really in fear that you can't have what you really want. So evaluate and then elevate your standards as the first start of eliminating these limiting beliefs. All right, the next thing I wanna do, which is actually kind of related to the first one, is you'll want to work on your worthiness. Again, I find that people keep low standards for themselves ultimately because it's a self-worth issue. And I get that there's a lot of things that have happened to people in childhood or circumstances or whatever, where maybe you've been in an environment where people your whole life have told you that you're not as good as someone else or you're not worth it or whatever. you need to understand within and of yourself, nothing could be further from the truth, right? There is nobody that is better than you, right? We all have different strengths, we all have different skills, but all of us are of equal worth on the face of this planet. I always say, if heaven forbid you passed away tomorrow, there is no amount of money that could bring you back, right? It doesn't matter if it's the president of a particular country or if it's, the homeless person on the street. Both are of equal value because both are humans, right? And I would say, as a person of faith, both are made in the image of God. So you really have to really take hold of this idea of self-worth, because that will help you elevate your standards when you think, you know what? I don't really care, what's gonna happen next. I don't care if I lose this job. I don't care if this person breaks up with me. I don't care if I lose this client, whatever. I am so rock solid in my worth as a person, and my standards are so rock solid that I'm not gonna accept anything less, because I know that I am worth it and I know that I am enough. So whatever it is that you need to do to work on your worthiness, do that, because that is the next step to removing limiting beliefs. All right, the next step you need to do if you want to remove limiting beliefs is you need to uncover your untruths. And this is something I do all the time, even for myself, right? Oftentimes we operate under these assumptions that we just assume are true when in actuality, they're not true, right? A lot of us have this script running in our head about, oh, it's not possible for me to go after that dream because I'm this age, because I have kids, because I don't have kids, because I'm married, because I'm not married. I always find that funny because I get clients from all different walks and stages of life, and they'll say, oh, I don't know that I can do this because I'm single and I don't have a spouse to support me. And then I'll get on the phone with somebody else and she'll say, well, I don't know if I can do this because I'm married and I don't know that my husband is gonna support that. And it's like, well, which one is it, right? So oftentimes people think something is true for them when actuality it's not true, meaning there are other people in the exact same circumstance that you are in who are achieving the thing that you say you want, and they're doing it with the limitation or even worse limitations than what you perceive that you have, right? So you want to get really clear and uncover those truths. When you find yourself making excuses about not being able to achieve things, simply ask yourself, is that true, right? And the litmus test is there no one on the planet in your particular circumstance, or going through your situation, or with your resources, or with your lack of resources, or in your station of life, or not in your station of life, is there no one on the planet who is doing the thing, or achieving the thing, or having the thing, or whatever, being the person that you want to be or do or have? Is there no one on the planet, right? If there's even one person, then that's proof that it is possible for you. And so we want to uncover these truths, these stories ultimately that we tell ourselves about what we can and cannot have out of life. Eliminate those, because when you do that, you'll eliminate limiting beliefs. All right, I have more where that came from, but first I want to hear from you. What's one limiting belief you're working to remove? Share in the comments below. All right, the next step that you'll want to do, which kind of ties in with the previous step, is you'll want to change your environment. So again, it's very easy for us to tell ourselves these stories about what is or isn't possible based on a person like us or what we do or don't have, often because we're kind of in our own little bubble and we don't see other people in the world who are doing these things. But I find that if you get out of your comfort zone and get out of your environment, you will be amazed to see what people are able to accomplish, what kind of lives people live, oftentimes with less resources than what you have. So really change your environment so that you can meet new people, but then also change your environment so that it reaffirms the positive beliefs that ultimately that you want to adopt. For instance, if you want to adopt a belief that you can start a business and you can be successful, we'll start going to entrepreneurial, networking events, right? Start creating a space at home that is reflective of the space that an entrepreneur would have. And again, it doesn't have to cost a lot of money, but if you are always working at the kitchen table and it makes you feel stressed out and like you're just, this 9-to-5 worker who is just building this business on the side, maybe take space in your closet, right? I had a friend who did that. It was beautiful. She decked out her closet. Now she has a beautiful, huge office, but at the time, all she had was a closet that she could create as her office, and she decked it out and made it like the most amazing little entrepreneurial space around, and that really reinforced her identity and her belief that she could be an entrepreneur, that she would be successful, and that she could do this. So you really want to structure your environment ultimately to reinforce the beliefs that you want to have, not the ones that you don't. All right, and for the fifth step, I kind of gave it away in the previous one because the two go hand in hand, but you really need to get around different people, right? Oftentimes you have to go to different environments in order to get around different people, but this is important because different people will show you what those untruths are, right? Oftentimes, again, we're assuming that the scripts that we're believing are the truth until we meet someone who, again, is in our same situation or worse or whatever, and they're able to do the thing that we've been telling ourselves for years that we can't do, and then it's like, Well, I'll be, right? This whole time, I've been lying to myself, saying that this isn't possible, yet I met someone that shows me that it is possible. That's why it's so important to get out there, get into networking events, read biographies, read books of other people who have achieved the thing that you want to achieve. Watch YouTube channels like this, listen to people's podcasts, because you start to not only see how they've done it, but really hear their mindset and the kind of thinking that they have that allows them to achieve the things that you want to achieve, even in the station in life that you're in. All right, thanks so much for watching this video. And if one of your limiting beliefs is that you're not a good coach, you're not sure that you could coach people, even though you want to start a coaching business, I invite you to join my CLS coaching certification. No, CLS doesn't just stand for my initials. It actually stands for Coach of Life Success, which is the designation that we award you after you complete your certification. And speaking of completing your certification, you can complete our certification in as little as 90 days. It is accredited by an international third-party coaching association. On top of that, we teach you how to come up with your own coaching methodology so that you stand out from the crowd, even among other people who also have coaching certifications. And if you want, we even have an option where I will share with you all of my marketing strategies, everything that I've done and that I continue to do even to this day to build my coaching brand so that you can become the next big name in your industry. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in and you're willing to overcome the limiting belief that you too could achieve this level of success, go ahead and click the link below and apply. And if you are accepted, you'll be invited to a call with my enrollment team who will walk you through the entire process. All right, thanks so much for watching this video. If you loved it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And if you can't wait for my next video, make sure you're subscribed to my podcast, The Courtney Sanders Show, on both iTunes and Spotify. And if you can't wait for my next podcast episode or my next YouTube video, make sure you're following me on both Instagram and TikTok. It's CourtneyLSanders on both. And with that, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.